in the building, they need to make sure everybody's safe first, right? But then they fight the fire, right? So they usually, when they, their normal procedure when they come to a fire is to go into the fire on their hands and knees. Why do you think they go in on their hands and knees? Yes?
Because the fire could be up the pipe.
It could be. Heat rises first of all, so does the smoke, and so it's clear to see on the bottom. So they have to go on their hands and knees and search the house or the building or whatever for people. That takes a lot of time, you know. So Bullard didn't invent this, but we started making these thermal image cameras, and we became the most popular one because we protected the technology. It's very sensitive technology, and so our salesman could throw one across the floor and it wouldn't break. Others, our other competitors, they would. I'm not selling them anyway. But, so thermal image cameras became a good thing in our product line. And so then we have different respiratory products.
But they use them to look for people.
Yes, they do. They use them to find, and it really cuts down the time. You know, they don't have to go on their hands and knees now. They can walk in with their masks, and they can just scan the room really quickly. And then they can go to another room and scan it and see if they can find people. So it's very easy to find people, and we get lots of letters thanking us for the thermal image camera because it saved somebody's life. We also make different respiratory products like the sandblasting hood I showed you. And you may have seen some of these in the news recently with Ebola, you know, these people who need protection against the germs. Yes?
Do you make those kind of hats where it's just like, it looks like metal and you put it over your face and it's just like a clear thing for your eyes?
When you get like a saw or something.
Is it, you mean for like welding?
Yeah.
Yes, we do make a welding hood, yes, we do. And it's really a new technology because you put it on and as soon, and the actual glass will adjust according to the light. In other words, when you, the reason why they need eye protection when they're doing welding is because the light can blind you when you have the welding rods, and so the light changes, it adjusts to that brightness, and so it's kind of a nice product. Question?
Do you make the beekeeper's mask?
No, we don't. But you could probably use one of these, one of the disposal. These are used mostly for painting, pharmaceutical, and they're made to be disposable. In other words, once they're exposed to something in a chemical lab or something, maybe they can't use them again, so they throw them away, and they buy other ones. They're made to be disposable in many cases, or you can wash them. So anyway, the company, that's what the company I work for does. So what kind of risks do you think Bullard has? What do you think Bullard's biggest risks are?
Well, like if their hats break, the people might want a new one, like asking for a refund or something.
Or asking for money. Yeah, if they get hit on the head. We actually haven't had a hard hat case in 12 years. So we make millions of these a year, and fortunately nobody's sued us because they get hit on the head. We've had lawsuits where somebody, usually they're wildland firefighting helmets, and they look much like this, but they do have they look like this, but they have these ear neck protectors on them, and they use them for wildland fighting. If there's a forest fire or something like that. And people, the last claims we had were people who got hit by a falling tree and they wanted compensation for it. So, anyway, what other risks besides product? Well, some of these, obviously, we still have a crime risk. We could have dishonest employees. We don't have food issues at this company. Employees need to be protected, and there are workers' compensation benefits, and worker safety is very important. Business interruption is important to Bullard, so business continuity is an issue. What other things? Yes?
A company could make better hats. Like, they could try and make them, and then they would, like, be more durable.
Okay. That is possible. The competition you're talking about, yeah, that's a business risk, isn't it, when you have competition? The biggest risk to us is the products, isn't it? I mean, people claiming they get hurt by the products. It's a very tough product line because they're intended to protect people, and so when they don't, when the people perceive that they're not protecting them, then they'll sue us, okay? And we'll talk about some of that in a minute. What other risks? We have a 130,000-foot building in Kentucky where we manufacture all these products, and there are 250 employees. What other risks do you think are associated with a big building like that? Yes.
Like maybe fires?
Fire, absolutely, yeah. It's a big risk, isn't it? Fire and related perils. It could be windstorm, it could be hail, it could be lightning,
If there
those
was,
kind of natural things, yes.
if there was an earthquake, I'd feel like really wobbly. Like,
Earthquake is another risk, yes.
Fraud,
Excuse me?
fraud,
Fraud, yeah. I'll put that in with crime,
oh,
but yeah, that's definitely a risk. Anything else you can think of? Yeah, the building is a big asset for the company, a very important thing, yes.
The machinery that you use to make the
machinery,
products, maybe?
yes, and the machinery and equipment. In fact, the last loss we had a fire in our electro machine. It's a machine that puts these, it's part of, it prepares the hat to receive a logo, okay? One of the biggest things about our helmets is we have a very good logo department, and every company now likes to have their logo on. This is kind of a homemade logo, so it's not really a good one. It's the only hard hat I had in my garage to bring and show you. But we make very fancy logos for like Verizon, and you name the company, and we make them. And part of the process is this goes through a electro machine which zaps the plastic so that it receives the ink from the logo a lot better, okay? Well, there was a fire in that electro machine, and it did a lot of damage to our building, and so we had an insurance claim there. So there are lots of insurance needs for Bullard, okay? We need insurance against crime, against fire, and all the other related perils, the natural disasters. What's the big natural disaster in the Midwest? Tornado, yeah. So that's included in the fire policy. Business interruption, we have autos, we have automobiles, we have drivers across the country and internationally driving vehicles, so we have that as a risk as well. Yes?
do you like driving those huge trucks?
Do I?
No, like the
Do we have them? We don't have any large trailer trucks. We just have, our salespeople have a pickup truck, because they take these samples. They have lots of different samples, and they take them in their pickup trucks. And they,
It's just like those huge ones, those semi trucks. Oh my gosh, those scare me.
They are.
Because like one crash from them can cause like a billion.
It can cause a lot of. When I worked for that supermarket company I was telling you about, they had a fleet of those trucks too, so that was a big risk. Yes?
Losing money or getting in debt?
Yes, yeah, financial risk certainly is a risk. Okay, so my job then basically is to try to manage these risks. And the best way to do that for a company the size of Bullard is to transfer the risk. And how do we transfer the risk? Who assumes the risk if we don't want it?
You.
Insurance companies, exactly. That's the transfer of risk, okay? And so I deal with insurance companies to transfer some of our risk. But in terms of the products, the product liability, in other words, if somebody uses our product and gets hurt, we have what we call a $100,000, I'll call it a deductible. When you know, if you have your parents probably have an automobile policy. If their car gets damaged, and then it costs $1,000 to repair it, they probably have either a $50, $250, or $500 deductible. So you have to pay the first part of that claim, okay, whatever your deductible is. We have a $100,000 self-insured retention on our, or deductible on our product liability. So if we had a claim